You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kirsten.
Whoa, my goodness. It's the Truth on Tap, y'all. The big show. That's all. No.
Some say that karma is a bitch.
No, others say it isn't.
Some say that karma is a bitch.
I personally hope it is.
It's the big show.
It's the big show, y'all.
Okay, so last week
This is my friend who stayed in a haunted hotel. All her hair went gray. She just dyed it black again. Looks like Elvira now. Oh. It's the big show. You're listening to Truth on Tap. Your host, Kevin Kierstead. Tonight, what are we going to do? We're doing Stream of Consciousness. Now, I'm going to start off very quickly here because I may lose you tonight. How is that? We've got a storm out here in southeastern Virginia. I would estimate that 7 to 9 raindrops fell before we lost DSL. And I also could not get my Wi-Fi to work over my cell phone, which connects through a 3G network, which is what I'm on right now. I can't even believe I'm allowed to broadcast over that. But Spreaker handles that rather well. They're very good with the sound quality and compression, I guess. I'm amazed that I'm even connected right now and on the air. So yeah, we lost DSL, and let's go ahead and make that our first topic. I believe we just sent a probe out of our solar system that we sent out in the 70s. Left our solar system, but we cannot protect a digital subscriber network line from 7 to 9 drops of rain. What's going on? Power goes out routinely. Lightning right now, all you got to do is see lightning and cable will go off. Well, what is going on? We can't protect some lines? I mean, the other day, we had DSL go out, and there were, listen to the thunder, bass, I'm telling you, bass. There were, it sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like maybe God is bowling. Is that one of the analogies people like to use? I would say it sounds really like my ex-wife just fell out of bed, but that's my own personal view on it. A lot of bass, a lot of shaking. You can feel it all over the world. You know, there were 8 Verizon trucks down there. Now, I don't know if a tree branch fell. I didn't see any evidence of that. Or there was a car wreck and somebody hit a pole. I live in a small town, less than 10,000 people. 8 big Verizon trucks down there, and it took them all day to fix this one phone cable or two that broke, and we finally ended up getting our DSL back. Is it just that it's not worth the added cost to bury the cables, or it's easier or more profitable to go ahead and do it on demand where areas, require it? I don't know. Whatever it is, I don't like it, because of all the great things we can do as humanity, we can't even keep our satellite connected. You got rain fade on the satellite, you got cable going out with a little bit of water, you're losing your telephone or DSL with some wind. Come on. We haven't even beaten our environment with regard to protecting our transmission lines. That's ridiculous, man. It really is. If there's something major that happens in a city, the phone lines, what do? They jam up. Equipment can't handle it. Well, put more equipment in then. If another 9/11 happens, God forbid, everybody should be able to call everybody. Not have everybody cut off because one too many people tried to call at the same time. We can afford that. Invest in that infrastructure, for God's sakes. Stream of consciousness. There is no topic tonight. I'm just going over it. I'll touch on some news stuff. I'll touch on some personal items. I have no plan. And I kind of like it that way because here's the way I look at it. Psychiatrist, psychologist, sociologist, these are some of the people that I'm interested in, at least their viewpoints, maybe not them personally. They may be able to look at this very broadcast in 500 years and tell you details that would blow your mind about me, about the current life I'm living, about our current society's lifestyle. They may be able to, and probably will be able to, read direct signs of deception in my voice, as well as signs of truthfulness. That technology is already there. It's just not perfected. How about that? What if, it's another good reason to put some recordings out on the internet, I think. It helps you live forever, Maybe that's why I did what I did. I wrote a book or 2 or 3, well, now 6. Okay, I got a little bit of a problem. I do like to write some books. 4 of them are for sale. You can search my name. It'll all pop up. I'm not much of a salesman, so just search my damn name. You'll find it. Radio to me is kind of romantic, and I'm going to explain to you how that works. Part of it I don't understand, and that's exactly why I want it to remain that way. Well, what do you mean, Kevin? Well, I'm glad you asked. If you're on YouTube or Ustream or whatever, where you got video, your imagination gets to take a break, doesn't it? And sometimes it needs a break, because there you've got your person. Maybe they've got the afro. Maybe they've got the handlebar mustache. Maybe they've got the crossed eyes and the buck teeth, and they're talking to you. You don't have to imagine what they look like, do you? You don't even have to imagine their body language. You can see it. That helps, doesn't it? In communication, body language is what they say. It's about 80 or 90% of communication when you get 2 people together. Body language. I tend to agree with that. I'd say at least 60 or 70% of it is body language. I can tell when people are defensive, when they're being open, when they're being non-approachable, when they're being aggressive, angry, depressed. I can see all that in body language. I'm a student. It's one of the most it's probably one of the top 5 most fascinating subjects to me, is this ability. Now that I have the ability after I've studied enough, and you can too, it literally takes about 10 hours of study to become pretty well versed on body language. You can not only then read other people, but you can start developing countermeasures if you need to. If you're feeling defensive in public and you don't want to look defensive, you got to be careful not to cross your arms. You got to be careful not to put close off access to you by crossing your legs or ankles. You can tell by what people are thinking about you. Women in bars, they will point their toes unconsciously at the person they're most interested in the conversation. If there's 3 or 4 people talking, watch them toes. All kinds of stuff like that. It's just like having secret subtitles to an interaction. You can know what's really going on if you know a little bit about body language. Look it up, man. Look it up. It is worth studying. Ladies and gents, we did have a little break here in the information, so we will start you again where it picks up. Yeah, well, it says we're back on the air. I don't know. I'll be very impressed if Spreaker did what I think it just did, which is my phone cut me off, but Spreaker put me back on. So let's see if that's actually how it works. I guess we'll find out after the end of this broadcast. So because I wasn't paying attention to the giant red on-air button that is lit when you're on air and dim when you're not, I don't know when I lost you. So I'm just going to keep going from where I was. Hopefully it wasn't in the middle of something that you were interested in. People, body language, learn it. Go read for 10 minutes. At least have some background in body language so that you can better understand communications between 2 people you're watching or communications with someone you're actually communicating with. It'll help you. I promise it'll help you. It'll be valuable in business and in your personal life. As I said, it is one of the top things I'm interested in. Communication in general, definitely one of my top 5 things. When I was in college, I officially majored in English with a writing concentration, and psychology. I double majored. I later dropped psychology when I went back to college and just stuck with the English, because when you get into abnormal psychology, it's not as fun as you think, in my view. What I believed throughout those college years was that communication is man's worst weakness. It is the thing we could fix now that we don't put much effort into. Miscues, whether it comes down to friendly fire or incorrect job instructions that then cost a company a few $1 million, to maybe something that happened today, the molasses spilled off of Hawaii that killed all the wildlife. You never thought you'd hear that in the news. Well, it happened. That could have been a miscue. Could have been bad directions. Turn this wheel left instead of right. Watch this gauge instead of that gauge. Or I think it'll be okay. I won't tell the person down the pipeline to watch this gauge. Things like that. Communication. Very important that it's done accurately. And that's my biggest thing about communication. Make it accurate. Make it so that the person you're communicating with sees in their mind the same thing you're seeing in your mind as you push the idea out. How can you better do that? Well, you got to have some empathy first. Understand that people don't hear words the same as you hear them necessarily, and that you may need to use some supporting data or structural words that help prop up your idea. Stream of consciousness still rolling here. Still rolling. What am I wearing right now? What does my studio look like? That's stream of consciousness stuff. I'll tell you. I'm wearing no socks. I don't wear shoes without socks usually, sometimes sandals, but I've got no shoes on either. I'm wearing a pair of shorts that used to be pajamas. I cut them off. Very comfortable. It's warm out here. And I'll cut off of the wardrobe to go into the studio here for a second. It is warm out here because I can't run the fans here on my studio, which is my enclosed back porch, which I love. It's just the perfect size for a studio / office, and it's where I make my paracord bracelets and stuff, which are fun, kind of a survival man thing. It's man knitting, if you want to know the truth. It's man knitting. If you ever hear somebody say they make paracord bracelets, they're trying to sound tough, but they're knitting. Yeah, they're knitting, just like old ladies do. I'm a man knitter, I confess. I got a couple paracord bracelets on right now. One of them is a watch band. Absolutely cool. Paracord is a big deal. 550-pound tensile strength. All right. Me, my girlfriend, and both my daughter and stepdaughter-to-be could rappel on one cord out of a burning building. Now, I've got about 18 feet on one wrist and about 20 feet on the other wrist. If I'm wearing my belt at any given time, I have 70 feet. Thomas, would you like to go in? Well, he apparently is nervous with the... Here's another stream of consciousness thing. I'll go back to the wardrobe. Let's go ahead and finish this up. Got on a t-shirt, a plain black t-shirt. I'm a black and brown kind of guy. In fact, the bracelet that I have on that my watch band is made of, it's black and brown. I happen to be wearing a red and blue bracelet on the other hand. It has tucked inside of it. I wove it in. Is it wove or weaved? Not a word I'm used to having to do in past tense. I wove it in, and I wove in aluminum foil, 2 number 6 fishing hooks, several clamp sinkers, and about 20 feet of fishing line. Because although you can use one of the 7 inner strands of paracord, which actually divides down again into 2 strands each, so it's kind of like 14 skinny inner strands that are about 18-pound test each. You can use those for fishing line. But why do that if you can just stuff some fishing line in there for fishing and use those for building your support or tourniquets or dental floss or snares or any of 10 million other things you might need it for in a survival situation. You know, people think, well, you'll never need it. It's more of a novelty item. Don't be so sure. If you need a tourniquet, you got it. It's on your wrist. If you need a rescue line, somebody's fallen in the ice, there it is. It's on your wrist. Pop it off. Toss it out to them. Pull them in. 550-pound test. The stuff started in World War II. Off of the parachutes, the men realized right away how strong it was because the military asked them, the manufacturers, to make something that could hold a whole heck of a lot of weight and take the jolt of a parachute opening and a body and a bag connected to it. However, it had to be super lightweight and not snag. Well, enter paracord. There it is. And still very popular, kind of doing a sweep the nation thing today because kids can make bracelets with it, and it is very useful. It really does have a lot of uses. I believe we are right at the edge of functional fashion, and this is only going to develop into something deeper and more meaningful, meaning shoes will become more than shoes, pants will deploy into 5 or 10 different items, shirts may have secret compartments on them that hold certain things, medical information, small computers. You're hearing already about the wearable technology that's coming. It's coming. And that includes clothing items. And that will include glasses and hats. And, of course, they have some of this stuff already out, but it feels more like a prototype right now. It feels less like a norm, less tested than most of our other things. So for that to make it into mainstream society, it will take time, of course. I'll tell you what I'll do for Stream of Consciousness tonight. I don't know. If you want to come in the chat, and I think I may have somebody in here already, come on into the chat and give me some ideas on Stream of Consciousness. That means anything. I want to talk about something? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I have some sound effects loaded up. And I picked them randomly. I don't know why. You have a limit here on Spreaker that you can only load 6 at a time unless you're on a paid account, and I can't afford a paid account yet because I'm not rich like that. So I just loaded them in, and I'll do some kind of story or stream of consciousness thing that goes along with the sound effects. So this will be like, whose mic is it anyway? That's a term I coined, stealing from the show Whose Line Is It Anyway? But before we do that, I think we ought to do a station ID, don't you? Yeah, you do. You do.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kirsten.
That, my friends, was the captivating, energizing, electrifying, forceful, stupendous, momentous voice of Capitals Arena announcer Wes Johnson. Don't you forget it, because there is no one better at what he does. No one better. And when you're at a Capitals game, you don't even have to like the Capitals or hockey. And you'll find yourself doing the white person tries to dance black thing, and you won't even know why. It's Wes. It's Wes. Wes will get you moving. Wes will get you moving like Beavis used to dance, because it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter. You just got to move, because Wes, he's like Nikola Tesla has crawled up into the speakers, shot out million-volt bolts of lightning, and said, "Gzzz-zagaga!" Blew you into the row 3 rows behind your chair, and you're all fired up, and you may not even know why. It's Wes. That's how he operates. Pure energy coming from a man's voice is what Wes has. And, you know, just in case you forgot what it sounded like, we're just going to do it one more time. Here we go.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kirsten.
See how he finished with my name? Kirsten. He made sure to enunciate the D. A lot of people don't do that. Kirsten. Where's my D? Bitches, I didn't have ancestors fight for 10,000 years to keep their name, just to drop the D. Don't say my last name and not give me the D. Wes gave me the D because he has that kind of respect for his fellow human beings. You know, other sound effects. You know, what are we talking about here? Syria? How are we going to start off in Syria? Oh God, my friends and I are at odds with this. I guess what we got to do first is bomb the shit out of Assad's powers, and that's going to sound something like this. Yeah, there it goes. There it goes. There it goes. My brethren, my boys in the Air Force, in the F-16, F-15, F-22, coming by, wrecking shit, America style, taking it to them, bringing that noise to all them boys. That might sound something like that. Yeah, I'm funny. I'm funny and I know it. Clap my hands. Oh, excuse me. I had some beans tonight. I did not mean to do that. I certainly didn't mean to do it. Yeah, my cat's now scared and having trouble breathing because of the gas. I can't hold it in, Thomas. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, buddy. Don't look at me like that. I don't owe you money. Don't look at me like that. I'm trying to control the gas, so if you'll just give me a minute, I'll get it up. Oh, yeah, there he goes again. There goes Thomas. Those are real meows, by the way. I think the gas is definitely getting to him. He's walking sideways right now, and I believe he's about to go down. Oh, no, that was him. And I wish I could go in farts, because that would be very impressive. And then he could do it back, meow, you know, add a little meow in there for a musical effect. Stream of consciousness, you know, this is what it is. You just go. And, whoa. Now that happens when you see a pretty lady if you're a normal guy, doesn't it? You know, she walks by, she's in a two-piece, she's been doing her exercises, and you go, oh, you know, I'm glad I wore tight shorts, because if I had on loose ones, it would look like a circus tent right now. Yeah. Oh, that's funny, isn't it? Now, I'm not Don Imus, and
I like to always point back to that. I need a little bit of help from people like Wes Johnson. There's a reason that Don Imus always sounds drunk, and I've tried to explain this to people before. I'm not drunk. I don't drink on the job. Well, the problem is that my lips are actually inside my nose, and it's very difficult to communicate in any other way than what you're hearing right now. Like I like to say on most days, come on out to the ranch, we'll slap a cow on the ass. A cow, in most cases, can be made to go about 17 and a half to 18 miles an hour. You can ride a cow like you can ride a horse. Come on out to the ranch, slap a cow on the ass, just lightly, just enough to get him moving, and you can ride him like a horse. You can ride him. Now, you may occasionally have a moo-moo situation going on, and people will say, well, that's not normally what you hear when somebody is riding an animal. It's usually a whinny, but there's nothing wrong with a moo-moo. In fact, I sometimes wear a moo-moo when I'm on the moo-moo, which draws more attention to me, and I do like attention, I must admit that. Come on out to the ranch, and we'll talk about nappy-headed hoes. I mean, who loses there? Yeah. So there you go. There's Imus. All right. I admit I've been working on it a little bit. My girlfriend does not like that voice. Whenever I make it, she kind of, she makes that noise there, and I have to step back and say, excuse me, sorry about that. Kind of go more into a Robin Williams voice, which I'm not going to do for you right now because I haven't practiced it enough. Well, what are we going to do after we do our air assault on Bashar al-Assad's thug regime? I'm trying to keep this kind of lighthearted, so I'm not going to go into the offenses of human nature that him and his regime have engaged in. Let me just assure you that it starts with 5-year-olds and goes on up the scale. Every terrible thing you can imagine is happening there. So let's leave it at that. I've already done 4 or 5 shows on that. You can look through the list. A lot of the things that you hear me say on my shows, you'll hear on the major news organizations that night. Okay, I'm one step ahead of them because I'm doing my research. In the same way their research staffs are doing their research. So I have an unpopular view right now. I believe we need boots on the ground. I believe we need to fire up the tanks, something like this. And I don't know if an M1 Abrams would have a key beeper necessarily, but yeah, this is kind of how it sounds. You got that very deep diesel engine sound. You got one started up. Guy's got his helmet on, puts his goggles on. He's trying to look like Rommel, the Desert Fox. That's what you got to do to take control on the ground. Nobody wins a total war strictly from the air. You can get a surrender with nothing but air power, but you can't take control and enforce peace. I'm going to mute this so I can yell, so that she can come get her kitty for me. And we're back. All right, still continuing on with that stream of consciousness. Thomas has had enough, apparently, of the storm, and he's probably tired of my gas. Oh, there we go again. Sometimes they sneak up on you when you're older. Things are a little less. You get a little less warning for things like that. And so, oh my! Light a lighter, somebody. Or don't, because who would want to see this back porch blow up? I wouldn't. Let's let that dissipate and just hope that the parts per million is gradually decreasing, because I wouldn't want to assault your sense of smell and make your osmoreceptors cave in entirely. May have a new co-host on the show tomorrow or shortly thereafter, Mr. Jason Emanuel. Rumor has it that he's funny as hell, and he's got a radio voice, and
that's what I'm looking for co-host. I'm looking for somebody who is at least as good as me, but really better than me. Because if you truly care about your audience, you want to bring them the best at all times. You do not want to have somebody in that's not so good on the radio just to make you look good. I want somebody that makes me look like shit, because that means I'm doing my job. So he's supposed to be good. If he's into it, if he gets into the topics like I think he might, then we will have a regular co-host. And I'm not saying every show, because I tend to do shows with 10 minutes notice, but at least for scheduled shows. And if he's into the topics that I like to cover, which I have a feeling that he's very versatile. I haven't hung around him since back in my high school days, and I didn't even hang around him then. You know, he's kind of one of those guys I knew. You know, you have your tight little clique, and then you have your intermediate friends, and then you have your strangers. And he was there in the middle. He was, you know, I always knew he was a cool guy, but it wasn't, and I'd, you know, do a couple of parties over at his house or whatever, here and there, and run across him. Hey, how you doing? Just that kind of thing. So, a closer friend of mine advised that I get in touch with him and see if he wanted to be a co-host on the radio show. So, well, we're going to try it out and see what happens. A little bit later, actually, my show's coming to a close here. We've only got 3.5 minutes left. So I am going to have to load up a special. That's the name of the song, A Special, by Bad Ace. We'll do a station ID first, though.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kirsten.
Yep, almost sounds official, doesn't it? Well, I'll tell you what, we are out of time for now. We may do another show later. If you want to do another show, you want to hear another show, you want to be a part of another show, go to the Facebook page and tell me so. The Facebook page is facebook.com/TruthOnTapShow. Don't forget the show. It's Truth on Tap Show after the slash. Facebook.com, Truth on Tap Show. Let me know you want another show to come on. You have been listening to Truth on Tap, Stream of Consciousness, and you're about to be listening to a special by Bad Ace. This is your host, Kevin Kierstead. Peace!